Hey everyone, Adam here. This is the third match from Sunday, May 19th between my good friend and league partner Matt and myself. The first one was 8-ball race to 9. I gave him 4 games. Second one is 9-ball race to 9. I gave him 4 games. I won both of those. Actually, I think I whitewashed him in the first one. The second one went 9-7, so it was much closer. This is the third one. We decided we didn't have as much time to do a full race to 9, although this one did take long, as you can see by the time of the video. So we decided to do a race to 5, and I'm giving him 3 on the wire, which is like 1 win, 1 missed 8-ball, 1 something by me is him on the hill. Wanted to do it to put extra pressure on myself, and I was running pretty good. He was running pretty bad, and just wanted to give extra little oomph and extra little pressure on that. So because this video is a little bit longer, even though the other ones were longer than this is long for a race to 5. Let's get in there and let's go. All right, as usual, he won the coin flip, which shouldn't surprise anyone by this point, and he's breaking again second ball. Hit that one pretty good, a little light. Made 2 balls. And he's completely snookered on everything. I went and looked to see what the angle was just real quick, and I'm fast forwarding through all this. Eventually he's going to try to play the 5 on the side. This is not a good table at all. We spent a lot of time talking about it and looking at it, and he thinks the 5 can go either maybe even off the 6 or maybe even off the 14 or off both. But that's all he has. We talked again about safeties. Did not hit the 6, went right past the 14. I think if it would have hit the 6, it might have gone, but had to be a real clear, real concise hit on there. So that was kind of a mess. I did talk about maybe trying to mass off the 4 down and come into the 15, but that's really, really touchy. You can't hit the 4 too hard. You can't move the 15 at all. You have to make sure you get to the rail. You have to make sure you get back up. Otherwise, the 7 and the 11 and stuff is open. So things like that just happen. So I'm going to take stripes here. I like the layout better, mostly because of the 4-ball. I start with a combo. And my plan was to then take the 9, come around for probably the 15 in the lower left, or come around all the way to like the 14 in the side. Instead, I overcut it. Had somewhat of a shot. I had the 12, I had the 14, but kind of left that goofy. However, he doesn't really have anything here. The 6-2 is about the only thing that he really has, or he could bank the 1. But banking the 1 doesn't guarantee a leave on another shot, so you have to do something with the cue ball, which makes the bank harder. If he can play the 6-2 and just follow it inch or so, he can get the 5 as his insurance ball, and the 6 probably goes in a place where he can make it. So yeah, these games are going to be interesting. You can see, it's a race to 5, so max, he already has 3, so a max of what, 5, 6, 7 games? No. 4, 5, 6 games. And it's 45 minutes. Some interesting stuff happens here. Just stay tuned. So he's playing the 6-2. You can tell it's off angle. It's not anywhere near close to being on. He has to watch the cue ball here so it doesn't fly on the side. 6 is probably going to go towards the left side. And he hit that really well. I think the 7 may slide past the 9 now, at least go off the rail into it. The 1 still doesn't have a pocket down table. It can go in the side off the 6. So you could do 6-ball here. Play the 5, play the 7 down, play the 1 in the left side. If you get the right angle on it, you can crash into the stripes and the solid, the 4-ball down there, if things work out perfectly. We know Impula never does. He drew that a little bit too far out. I almost would have followed that into the 14 just to bump the 14 off. You don't get the great, you know what? Maybe I would have drawn it. Yeah, I'm not sure, but he has the 7 now he can go after. If he comes straight across, he can bump the 1 out too, because he can't hold for the 1 on the side anymore. If he comes really straight across, he can go into those balls over there. Or he can almost scratch and not leave a shot. That's really where he is. That was kind of rough. I think he played a little bit too much top on the 7. I think if you play more of a stun, like a stun forward, it goes, or maybe even just center ball, the cue ball goes more over towards the 4. I don't know if you can get enough on it to really break it out as much. And if you do, you might be wedged in between those 2 stripes. But when he went forward, it followed back down to the rail and he came underneath it. So he's calling a safety here. I think what he has in mind is playing it up table and trying to get behind the 5. It is a very touchy shot. Got to clip the 4 lightly. And he got it. I think he just hit it too hard. He didn't leave it terrible because I can hit the 9. But I think he just hit that one a little too much force on that. The tables we play on in our league, it's Romines in Greenfield, Wisconsin, suburb of Milwaukee, are very, very slow. They got some brand new cloth, and they claim it's Simonis 860, and my joke is that it's Simonis that they got on Wish.com, spelled with the E, because it's not Simonis 860 by any means. It's slow, it's slow. And it could be, the rails are slow too. The rails haven't been replaced in years, but this was much slower than the cloth they used to have on it as of last year. So now I'm in a weird spot because what I want to do is I want to follow the 13 to the other side of the 12, but I really don't have that angle, so I want to try to force it here by cheating the pocket and playing some top. Unfortunately, I didn't really follow through as much, and now I don't have a great. I can't play the 12 here. Trying to play that past the side pocket all the way down is suicide. So what I want to do is I want to draw this 14. And I'm on a weird angle for this. I can't come straight back. I need to cheat the pocket to the right side, which is tough because the 14 is already on the right side. And then I want to come below the side pocket to get an angle on the 12, and I get all of this ball and get perfectly behind the 8 ball. Like, I never thought I would put that good of a stroke on it. And because I did, I got way too far. You're looking at a half a ball over, maybe full ball over, and I'm fine. I did want to draw into the rail on that because I wanted to put a fuller stroke on it, but I just got everything on that. Here I just called the bank, kick bank, and I almost cut it in, but I scratched. Obviously wouldn't have counted if I cut it in there because I was calling it in the corner, in the upper left actually. But it was a hope and hit at that point. I couldn't go anywhere. I had to go 1 rail at it that way. Couldn't go 2 rails past the 5. Couldn't go 1 rail underneath the 4 and try to play it. So Matt here, I think what he needs to do is take either the 1 on the side or the 4 in the lower right first. Because the 1 blocks, or the 4 blocks the 1. This isn't bad. We talked a lot. We've done a lot of 3-ball drills, which is essentially just throw 3 balls in the cue ball out, take ball in hand, run them out, make sure you can repeat the pattern, make sure you're on the right side of the lines and everything. The problem with doing it this way is that you have to get below the 1 to then make the 3, or the 4, to then come essentially between the 1 and the 8 for the 1 in the same pocket. Now you also could stun this and play the 1 on the left side, but then you have a harder 8-ball leave. So I think I liked playing the 4 first, or even the 1 first, and then the 5, and your 5 is your last ball. Yeah, so he tried to go in between those and he missed, but he hit the 8 full and he got a really good shot on the 1. So it worked out for him, but if we were playing this as a 3-ball game, which when we do the 3-ball drills, throw 3 balls out, you mark them with dots, little donut stickers, and then you repeat it, and you do it multiple times, and you do it until you don't miss, and you do it until you get the exact angle you need every time. Just making it once doesn't really help. Now here you can just play straight top, come back up for the 8 in the side. Just like that. And you got a little off, but I mean, this is perfectly acceptable. Your position window on this ball is about 3 feet either side. Maybe not 3 feet, but I mean, it's big. 8 ball's right in the middle of the pocket, so it can go on all 6. Of course, he has to use a short cue, but that is okay. My room is 13 feet 6 inches wide. It's about, I mean, you can see it goes back this way, behind where the camera is. It goes back about another 8 feet, and it goes another, I don't know, 15 or 20 that way. So plenty of room lengthwise. Widthwise, they did not have ideas for putting a pool table in this room. But with that and my scratch and Matt's out, which is nice out there, Matt is on the hill at 4-0. And breaking. We haven't had an 8-ball break, so anything could happen except for the 8-ball break. We did kind of get moving. Didn't really get much out of the break. It's kind of at a weird spot. I'm going to get this rack out of the way. We are using the Teo Magic Rack. What are the other things we need to get out of the way? The ball set is Aramith black set, so the 4 balls pink, the 5 balls purple, 12 balls pink, 13 balls purple. The pockets are 4.5 inch corners, 5 inch sides, cut as the Diamond Pro Cut specifications. Simonis 860 HR cloth, diamond rubber on the cushions, brand new, all done in October or November, somewhere around there. Table's very fast. It plays, it's an 8-foot Brunswick. It plays as close to a 7-foot diamond as you can get it. It doesn't have the same bed cut, obviously. But I thought it was better to do this because I'm not a real huge fan of 7-foot tables. And I'd rather, I play on 8-foots and 9-foots mostly. I'd rather have something kind of bridging the gap of those. And this is it. Now, I made the 4, came right back for the 7 where I wanted it so that I can crash into these balls here and hopefully break something out. I don't have to really hit this hard because everything should clear up pretty good. 13 almost ruined my day. But I can still get to the 1. The 6 doesn't really have a pocket. I don't think it goes past the 10. It might. It's hard to tell from this, and I don't remember what happened here. If I crash into it, that means it doesn't pass the 10. What I tried to do is I tried to come straight across, essentially going into the 9, or as close to the 9 as I could, so that I could play the 3 and then have a good angle to come back around, either for the 5 or the 2, or try to get something on the 6 going. Instead, I get this goofy angle. And I don't know why I did this. I played this with inside spin, and it went into the 15. I don't know what I was going for because hitting it that hard with that spin wasn't going to give me a shot on the 5. Could have given me a bank on the 2 maybe, but most likely I would have had no real shot. There are some safety possibilities, getting frozen up against the 2 maybe, or leaving it on this side of the table. I don't know. I don't really know what I was doing there, so we'll chalk that up to me not having a plan, but shooting it anyway. I think I shot it with right so I could spin the ball in easier and never thought about position. That's not a good thing. Matt is kind of stuck here. I think he's taking the right ball. If he plays this 11, he can kind of nick the 14 out of there, and then he has a 15, the 10, the 9, all his insurance balls. Now, in setting these shots up, you want to set it up so that you don't have to work the cue ball. You essentially just set up your angle. Oh, he didn't break out the 14. So the 14, 10 goes. Maybe the 14 goes past the 9 if the 9's out of the way, or once the 10's out of the way, the 14 will go on the side. Here I would do that plan. I would take the 12, I would take the 10, I would take the 15, and try to get back on the 14, and then you have your 9 and your 13, and you can get back up on the 8. So that's good. If your balls do have a pocket and you can free them up, you shouldn't be breaking them out. But what I was saying on the 11 ball is you don't want to line up like a shot where you have to put a bunch of English on it to break out a ball if they're that close. You just line the angle up, hit the cue ball straight so the angle goes and the cue ball just goes into the ball here. He got a little funny on this ball. I think now because the 15 he's on much further on the top half of the pocket line, I think I would do the 9 ball and then the 14. I think that's what he's looking at. With that 10 ball shot, instead of stunning it out there, I like following it off the rail and having it come out. It's easier to control the angle in, angle out. I think he got caught taking too much time there. He was down on the shot for a long time, so he wasn't feeling right. I think he should have got up on the shot and got back down on it. A little pokey again. Now here it's really interesting because I have no easy way to get on the 2 because of the angle of the cue ball, except for pushing through the 14. There's no easy way to get from the 5 back to the 2, so I have to just kind of shoot this, and hopefully the 14 clears the 2, which it does. Now I could take the 5 here, but I'm on the other side of it, so I have no way to get back on the 2. So I was just telling Matt, I'm like, it happened exactly the way I wanted it to, but I hate it. Plan here then is to make the 2 and hit solid into the 14. I think I need a little bit of left spin or draw to make that happen. Instead, I shot this kind of weird and went off the wrong side of the 14, leaving myself this where the only shot here is a bank shot. There's no safety here. But if I play a bank shot and I stop it, I have the 8 ball dead in. So this is basically for the set here, or for me losing the set here. But center pocket swish, which is something I never say because I don't play basketball. And a fairly routine 8 right down the rail. Hit that one in well. And I am now on the board. It's 4-1, and I think I went and took a quick water and a de-water and re-water. Dehydrate and rehydrate break or something like that. And then because it's my break, Matt did the same thing. So I fast forwarded through some of this. Finally making balls on the break. Almost made the 8. If the 5 wasn't there, the 8 was dropping. I'm positive of it. But look at this rack. Other than the 10 ball, there is no shot for anything except for maybe the 14-5 off the 8. But I think the 11 is kind of in the way for that. I don't think the 14 goes off the 5. I think the 5 is going to one that has to go. I could play the 3-4 11 off the 8, off the 5 off the 8. But I have the 10 here for a good starter. So my plan here is to follow this 2 rails up to get the 15 or the 9, depending on how I get on it. And things actually start to go from there. If I can get that on that 13, I can then clear the 11 out, the 14's open, and the 8's still open. So there is a way to get out of this rack right now, right off the break. Unfortunately, I also get way too far into this ball. Don't put enough side spin on it, put too much top on it, and I am almost frozen to the 1. I can see the 13 here, but it doesn't go anywhere. The 13-9 combo isn't on. I don't have enough of the 13 ball to see that. Wish my big head would get out of the way so you could see the table better, but unfortunately, okay, there we go. So I look at this for a while, I know I'm taking extra time too because Matt's upstairs, kind of looking around to see if there's anything I can play, where I can play. And then I look down here, and if I leave right on the top rail here, there's really no shot for solids. There's a weird combo, off-angle combo. Now he will have safety possibilities. So I decided to go for that. I want to play this with some right English, maybe a little draw to cut the angle off, and then just ease into the ball and come up. I didn't quite hit my mark. What I also did is I moved the 13 and I moved the 5 a little bit. Now he comes back, we're talking about this. I don't know what we're doing here. We're talking about something else. And as a joke, I said, well, you got the 6, 15, 9, 5 in the side, which unfortunately is lined almost dead straight in. And when I said that as a joke, I say things like that as a joke all the time. Oh, you got the 15, 14, 13 off the 12, off the 8, off the side, 2-rail bank. But this one was actually dead in. The problem was he didn't play position on it because it was such a touchy shot, which I don't really blame him on that. The only really shot he has now is the 2-ball back cut to the lower left. But the other problem was if he follows it, he's going right into that mess of stripes, and there's really no way to get out of that. So he would have had to do some kind of draw out of there to make that happen, which, knowing how straight it is now, probably would have been a good idea, but I totally understand why he played it the way he did. Now, if he can sink this ball on the lower left, the cue ball is naturally going to come in between the 8 and the 13 and pop out to the middle where all those solids are wide open. Instead, he missed it. Went into the 15, but left me this mess. Now, what I'm looking at here is if I can stun off the 15, play the 11 on the same side, follow it up, I can play the 14 and the 9 in the lower right, sorry. Play the 13 in the upper, actually I'm going to take, okay, so that's essentially what I was going to do. I could take the 14 and 9 in the lower right, and then the 8 ball is clear. So I'm hitting the 13 out of the way to do that. Now what I need to do here is I need to stun past this 11 so I can play the 11 in the same pocket without hitting any balls. It's a touchy little shot. I wish I would have been a little closer to it. And I just tagged the 11 coming out of it. So the problem is now when I make the 11, I'm going to hit either the 4 or the 9 or maybe even the 14. Hitting the 4 is most likely. Because I have to try to spin this out of here with left spin, which is going to force the cue ball to go to the right. Because there's no way I can hold it with just straight top. I actually missed everything. Maybe I thought I was going to hit the 9 there and stop. I really don't have a shot here. I have enough of a ball that I can try to hit off the 9 and stay in there. So that's really what I did. I just aimed at how much of the ball I could hit and almost got it. But instead made a complete mess of the rack now for Matt and for me when I get back to the table. Because I'm assuming I'm getting back to the table. Running off from here would be very impressive for anyone. I think the only way to really run out is if you draw back off the 2 and try to crash into the 3, but that angle's really tight because the 6 is there. You could come around 3 rails below, that's tough too, like below the 14. Well, he's gonna actually has the 6 right now. Maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. Yeah, from there, I like the shot selection, but I might have looked at taking the 1-4 combo next. Because imagine you're sitting right on like the foot spot there. You play the 1 into the 4, the 1 crashes into the, I don't know why I say crashes, but the 1 hits into the 9, which frees up the 3. If you hit it well enough, the 3 goes to the bottom rail, and the 1 should be out in the open enough that you can at least maneuver around to it. But I don't blame him going after the 2 here. What I would do though is I would draw this back, more of a stun shot, trying to hit right into like that 3-9. Instead, he kind of stunned center ball, and the worst possibility happened. Now, at this point, I haven't looked at everything that's going on here, so I don't know what I can do. I'm thinking of taking the 4, as I walk around the table, I'm thinking of taking the 14 and crashing into the 3, but then I notice that the 9 is like dead straight in. It goes right between this 1 and 3 ball. Not dead straight in, but I can get there. So now I just have to worry about getting on the 14 to be able to get back to the 8. I decided to go this way, come back, bounce off the rail a little bit, and then I can go 2 rails to the top side of the 8 and play the 8 in the same pocket the 14's going in. This is a bit of a speed control shot. Some people will play this 3 rails and go off the top rail as well. I wanted more angle, so I came into it like this. So my 3rd rail is essentially the right rail. It's a kind of a matter of preference and the matter of angle that you have, because you can play it bottom rail, left rail, top rail and come into it. But I felt at the time that was the best way to go. I'm coming back. It's 4-2. So you're saying there's a chance. I actually don't know what that quote is. If you're saying there's a chance or you're telling me there's a chance. I've only seen the movie 1,000 times. Here I make the 7 in the side. 2 ball is stuck on the rack, so the 2-person rack release maneuver. 2 ball doesn't move. I'm looking at this and I think the 3 is really, really close to being able to go on the side, but I think the 13's in the way. I definitely don't want to clip the 13 on the way out. So I don't have a shot on solids unless I want to try to like the 1 on the side, if I can even get to there past the 8 ball. I don't think I can, so I'm taking the 12 ball here. I kind of play it just to come up table and come back down. I know I have the 15. I thought I was going to maybe have the 10 depending on... That was kind of my idea, was to get the 10 and then float down for the 13 in the lower left. The 15 barely goes by the 14, but it's in that angle where even though it's clear, the 14's in my line of sight. So these shots are typically really hard. You kind of just have to ignore the 14 and go for the shot. And of course, because I did that, I have no position. The 9 barely doesn't go past the 4. I don't like that at all. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come back 2 rails, miss the 6, get on the 10. Which I don't really do. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't do it in the way I want it to. I want it to be more like head spot. I don't know what I'm doing here if the 9 actually goes. Oh, I'm cutting the 9 all the way down. Yeah, what I was trying to do there, I was trying to play off the rail, off the 4, and stop the cue ball right there, so I had the 11. Because I didn't, the 11 and the 4 are now completely tied up, but Matt can make it and I can't. Now I'm in a bit of an issue here because I have to play the 8 and then try to somehow get on the 13 for angle to break out the 11. I barely missed it. I get the perfect angle because I can stun right up either into the 5 or under the 5 and hit the 11 out. And I left Matt the table. I don't know if the 3 goes past the 13 in the lower right. That was the issue. That was the first shot that I was looking at when I first broke. So if it doesn't, he has to then get down in this corner and play that in the left side. So that was okay, but he didn't want to hit the 1. I would have probably tried to go into, not into, but tried to get a leave. If he can clear the 10 on the inside of it, try to get a leave for that 5 or even the 1 on the side. But instead now he's forced with this 3 ball because nothing else goes. The 1 does not go. The 1 probably is faced at like the last diamond before the pocket. So now he has to see, and this will tell me if my gut instinct was right on the first shot or not. Yeah, and he hit the 13 pretty full. He probably hit it harder than he needed to, but it was kind of a weird thing. It makes me feel better that I didn't try to go for the 3 past the 13 the other way, or the cue ball. I would have actually hit the 13 at that point, and then I might actually not, because the cue ball takes all the energy off. I might have not hit a rail. Here I'm stuck. I have the 10 with half a pocket on the other side of the pocket cross side to try to come down for the 13 to try to get our angle to come back on the 11. I somehow made the bank shot, but I don't really have the angle I need on this ball. I needed to be frozen to the cushion or a little bit higher. So I'm stuck here. It's really hard for me to hit this into the rail and miss the 13 because of the angle that I'm on. So I decided to call safe, and I wanted to lock it up on the 3, or at least in line with the 3. Instead, I drew it back a little too far. So yeah, even though I did make that ball out, I played it safe, so it's Matt's turn. And I realize that I'm in trouble because I'm in one ball hell right here, and he can do, almost anything he wants. Like if he... Hey, get your head out of the way. If he plays the 3 into the rail and knocks the 5 out, he can leave the cue ball pretty much right behind the 8, and I won't have a shot. It's risky because you don't want to hit the 4, or you don't want to hit the 11 actually, unless you hit it really good. Another option is to just play the 3 into the rail and roll the cue ball straight up onto the 8 and freeze it to the 8, and that puts me in an even weirder spot because I don't think I have a way to hit the ball then. If I'm frozen on that 8, now granted that's hard to freeze a ball, especially from you're sitting on the bottom rail and you're 2 diamonds out, but it's pretty, you don't have to freeze it on the 8, you can just get it to the 8, but I won't have a shot. I'd have to go left rail into it just to get a hit, as opposed to coming like straight up and down or whatever. So I know he's thinking about this a lot, which is good. Like we've talked, I'm rather him. A lot of players will be like, oh, screw it, I'll play the 1 on the side, and they'll just go at it. And then the cue ball, they miss it, and the cue ball comes on and hits the 4, knocks the 11 free, maybe even scratches in the side off the 4, and then the game's over. In this spot, Solid should win this situation almost all the time. So he kind of was doing what I was thinking, but he put the cue ball up table so I can actually see the 11. So if you were to play a little bit different angle on the 3, just brought the cue ball straight up in line with the 8, with the goal of locking it on the 8, I think he would have been good. Yeah, and I'm pointing that out to him right now. Now the reason, a lot of people are like, well, he has 5 balls on the table, you only have 1. How is he in the lead? Well, he can play any kind of safety he wants and have me not be able to hit my ball. Now granted, I could get lucky. I could take a foul and break it out on purpose, and hopefully he misses. But he should really have control of this game. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to draw like a double ticky shot off the rail, off the 5, off the rail, off the 3, and down. And kind of almost got there, except the 4 ball kicked out too far. Now the 5 is the 5-1, or the 1's blocking the 5, so you'd have to play the combo there. The 3 is a much tougher angle than it looks like to try to play it in the lower left, so he really only has the 4 ball here. But he can play this in a number of different ways to come out. It's on the rail, so it's kind of a little tough. I do like playing the upper right and spinning it around 2 or 3 rails back and in the middle. I don't know if the 11 goes past the 3 in the lower right, so he doesn't really have to worry about that angle, as long as he doesn't leave me all the way on the side. You don't really even need too much right here. The top will do it a lot of the time, because it's so far up the rail on the 4 ball we're talking. Yeah, like that, only harder. That was exactly what I had in mind, only a harder shot. Now here, because of what he's faced, what it looks like he's faced with a tougher shot, I would play the 1 into the left rail and just get the cue ball down in the middle diamond on this bottom rail. Or, well, that might not be good. I would put it in line with the 8, 5, 11. So figure out your point on the rail, where you need to get, which actually looks like it's more in between the first and the second diamond here on the bottom rail. And then just play the cue ball. Don't worry about where the 1 goes. Don't hit it hard enough that the 1's going to be an issue, and just kind of float into that position zone and leave safe. And then I'll probably have a fairly easy kick, but not to make it. I don't think that's what he tried. I think he tried to make the 1. Yeah, I definitely tried to make the 1. The other thing you could do there is you could call safe, go after the 1, and play the shot that I said. You could still try to make the 1, but then put some more inside spin on it and try to get it. Now here I'm just trying to, I have to play top on this to get it into the side, and I have to avoid the 5 and come out. And I got dinked by the point, perfect leave, table wide open. If Matt was having a better day, this would be over, but since I just said that, you kind of know what might happen. Now here, depending on how I'm shooting, I'm taking the 6 first, and then the 1. If I'm feeling good. If I'm not feeling good, I'm taking the 1 first. If I'm really not feeling good, I'm playing more of a stop shot bank on the 3 and trying to leave it behind the 5. All depends on where my mind is and where my shooting is, and my ability is. And there should be 1 good shot and that's it, but in reality that's not always what happens. So he played the 6. He was feeling good. He got a really good leave on that, because now he can just, he has to take this slow because this table is fast. A little bit of right English, light to medium stroke. I don't know what that means. I don't know what, my wife and I have problems trying to explain speed, cue speed. What's light versus medium versus heavy versus hard. And I know what we need to do is do the speed drill where we do it up and down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. But the problem with that is then you go to a different table and it's completely different. So it needs to be more of a feel thing. Now he hit that pretty hard, and of course it took off on him. I thought he scratched here when it first hit the 5, but then the spin kept going and it went up table. The table's definitely level. It's not an unlevel table. It's a spin. Now here, I kind of like playing safe, calling the 3, calling the safe, playing the 3 ball and basically stopping it right behind the 5. Unless you're feeling really good. If you're feeling really good, then you can take on the shot. You have a chance to snooker yourself behind the 8 if you're taking the 3 here. Kind of babied it. I mean, he left, with me being able to see the ball, he left it the best place he could. I have an open shot. I'm almost snooker, almost frozen to the rail. And I have no pocket for the 8 except for coming back 3 rails to essentially where I am right now. And I just went for it. Didn't quite get the 3rd rail, which would have been nice because I would have been bounced a little bit up. But I'm almost dead straight on the 8. If you remember from the last video, if you watched that this didn't go well for me. But this time I didn't need to stop it, so I could just roll the ball forward. And we're on the hill to be on the hill, to be tied with Matt on the hill. We got another dry break. I'm blaming the rack. Definitely not my form. It's not my stroke. It's not how I hit it. It's definitely the rack. 100%. 95%, 40%, something like that. So here the table's wide open. Stripes look really good. The only real issue, I don't really see an issue for stripes right now. only real issue I see for stripes is that the first ball is going to be the 11. It's kind of straight. But what I would do here is just roll it, play it down for the 9. And he did that, but it caught just a hair of the rail, just enough to make it not go in. So now I have stripes. I'm ready to get on the hill here. And I'm looking at this layout trying to figure out how I can screw it up is essentially what's going on here. Don't want to overthink it. Don't want to look at solids. Just want to take these shots one at a time, get through it. I get good on the 9. What I want to do is I want to float up one rail so I can get the 15, then the 10. And then see where I get off the 10. Those are the next 3 shots. Instead, I hit this incredibly hard. I don't know why I hit that hard. I didn't need that angle. Because now it makes the 15 harder. It makes it harder to get on the 10. I have to play this with top inside. And I have to kind of put a stroke on it so that the inside takes. Instead, I baby it. It comes straight up the table. I still have a shot. I'm still okay. I still have the 14 as a backup if we're real bad on it, although that doesn't really lead to places. I pretty much have to take the 10 here. Now, unfortunately, I just look at the 10 and how to make it. I'm going to wrap it around this corner, but I never planned on what I was going to do next. What I really need to do is pick out a ball that I wanted to get on. And instead, I got snookered by all 3 balls by this 3 ball. So the 6 ball blocks the 13, 3 ball blocks the 14. I cannot get enough of the 11, or the 12 there, the pink one. Can't get enough of that to cut it. Can't get enough to bank it. I'd have to masse around it and bank it, and then if I miss, it sells out the game. So I'm struggling here. I'm kind of mad at myself. I have a couple things I can do and I'm looking at the table from different angles, and I was looking at it before. If I can play off the 12, hit like the first diamond on the right rail above the side pocket and leave it behind the 13, he does not have a shot. I drew it a little too far, but that 2 ball does not go in the side. It does not go in the lower left. The only shot that he has right now is the 2 in the lower right. And angles are a little bit deceiving. He doesn't have the 3. He doesn't have the 6. Doesn't have the 1. And what I want you to watch is some of the best pool that I've ever seen Matt play coming up here. It's a little bit of a spoiler, maybe. But, I mean, he's taking his time. He realizes that's his only shot, so he's honing in on it. He's not happy about it, but he's honing in on it. I'm pretty convinced I'm getting back to the table at this point because of the only shot he has is a middle table back cut into a blind pocket with no guarantee of position. I mean, everything's kind of wide open there, so if he makes it, he could have good position. He hits this with about the best stroke he's hit all day. Beautiful shot. Problem here is that the only ball he has that he can see straight in is a 4, and it's on a goofy angle. Like, I would almost be willing to take the 5-3 here, because you can stop it and you'll have the 7 or the 1, and the 5 shouldn't drift too far out to be a problem. But I like that he's taking his time. A lot of times the shot right after the really tough shot can be the easiest shot to miss. And we see that a lot. Even the pros do it. They'll make some crazy 3-rail shot, and then they miss their next straight-in shot. So he's taking the 4 here. I like the way he hit it, but he needed to put more on it because he needed to spin. He needed to come out with a plan for his next shot. And I don't like to be below these balls. The 14's blocking off the both 7 and the 1 for the upper left, so it's not like he can leave it down there for that. The only ball left he has right now is the 3-ball, and this is a really nervy shot. But he hits it really well. Now me, I would have liked to try to stop the cue ball without it rolling that far, but he's fine. He has the 5, the 6. He has the 1 if he has to. Here I'm going to play the, let's see what the pattern here is. I think the 6, 1, 5, 7 looks good. I think the 6, 5, it's 6 first, and then it depends on where he gets. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Hit that with a good stroke. Now I think the 5 is the best shot because he's pretty much straight in on it. He can do a stop shot and then play. I think if he does a stop shot here, he can play the 1 and then the 7. Or if he wants to draw this back a little bit, he can play the 7 and then the 1. And by a little bit, I mean 2 or 3 inches tops, not much. Yeah, I mean, so right here is an interesting situation that came up. What I would do is I would play the 7, depending on the angle of where the 12 is, and I have to be on the table to see it. I would play the 7 in the lower left with some upper left and come straight up and down the table and they take the 1. Or I'd come 2 rails around the 12 and then play the 1. He's taking the 1 first, and it turns out fine. Because he kind of just came off the rail and came on. The problem with that, and a good friend of mine in our state tournament ran into that. He bounced it off the rail. He could have gone way too far, and he could have been in a really bad spot here on the 7. As it is, he just kind of, there's a couple ways to play this. I like wrapping it around the corner, out of the left corner, with a little bit of top and right. Otherwise, you could do straight top. It's going to kind of come around into the right position. I like using 2 rails to kind of control the speed a little bit better. Now he did that, but he hit it a little too hard and a little bit too much side spin. But he still has a great shot here. I mean, this is, you give me ball in hand, or you give me, your opponent misses and leaves me this, I'm going to be happy every time I come up to the table on this. He's still taking his time. I love that he's not just rushing into the shot because it's the finisher. He knows it's, he just ran this all out, and he got really good position on a lot of these shots and made a couple hard shots. And you just sink this, just drop back to the rail, and he's out. And like I said, that's some of the best pool I've ever seen Matt play. This is the first official match on video that he's beat me. Now, technically I'm ahead 3-2, but this is, if this was a regular tournament where it was handicapped or whatever, and I would have given him 3 games, he would have won, and I would have been on the loser side or out, depending on how it happens to be. So that's it. This is the end of our 3rd set that we played on May 19th. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get these uploaded. It's probably going to be later in this week, but hope you enjoyed all this. If you want to subscribe, you want to give me a like, want to give me a comment, let me know if you would have shot any of the shots differently. If you do that, leave a timestamp in the video so that we know which one you're talking about. Instead, if you go, hey, I would have taken the 12 instead of the 13, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, hope you enjoyed these things. We're having fun doing them. I'm going to do some more Ghost videos against the Ghost. Actually, I tried to do one the other night, and it came out horribly. I want to do a gauntlet type. There's a guy named Jaworski pool practice out there who does a gauntlet challenge, but I want to do a gauntlet versus the Ghost. So I want to do a rack of 8-ball, a rack of 9-ball, a rack of 10-ball, and then a race to like 7, just alternating games each time, knowing I'm probably going to lose all the 10 balls, but then I got to catch up in the 8 and 9. So look for that at some point in the future. We're having U.S. holiday over the weekend, so we have a big 3-day weekend. Maybe I'll get some playing in there, in between grilling and generally doing nothing. But until next time, see you later.